There's a moment when you realize the person you've been is the reason you're still trapped. I saw it happen to someone I loved. He was the kind of man who believed mercy would save him. He wore his heart like an open wound, thinking vulnerability was strength. For years, he bled himself dry for people who never even learned how to pronounce his name correctly. Then one winter, I met him again. The softness was gone. Something ancient and cold lived behind his eyes now. He looked at me and said 5 words that rewired my brain. I stopped letting them in. That's when I understood. The world isn't cruel because it wants to be. It's cruel because it can be. And it will keep breaking you until you learn the only language it truly respects: unavailability. Right now, you exist in 2 states. One is the prisoner. The other is the architect. The prisoner explains. The architect executes. The prisoner hopes. The architect decides. You've been the prisoner for so long that you've forgotten what your own authority feels like. Today, that ends. Your destruction began the day you confused generosity with strategy. There is a psychological law most people never learn. What costs you nothing to give becomes worthless in the eyes of those who receive it. You kept offering pieces of yourself, thinking eventually they'd recognize your value. But here's what actually happened. Every gift became proof you were desperate to be kept. In the hidden mechanics of human behavior, availability equals vulnerability. The moment someone senses you'll always be there, you transform from a person into a resource. And resources get extracted, not respected. There's an old principle of power. What people fear losing, they protect. What they assume will stay, they neglect. You trained them to neglect you by never making them fear your absence. Every boundary you didn't enforce was a lesson in how to disrespect you. Every apology for needing respect was confirmation you believed you deserved less. The predators in your life didn't target your kindness, they targeted your predictability. They knew exactly what you'd tolerate because you kept showing them. Withdrawal is not cruelty, it's correction. It's the moment you stop being a sanctuary for those who bring storms. Every scar you carry is a piece of encrypted intelligence. Suffering doesn't arrive to destroy you. It arrives to show you exactly where you were foolish enough to be soft. Most people waste their pain crying about fairness, as if the universe signed a contract promising them comfort. But the ones who evolve understand something darker. Agony is data. When betrayal cuts you, it's mapping your vulnerabilities. When rejection breaks you, it's exposing where you placed value in the wrong vault. When loss hollows you out, it's revealing what you built your identity on that should have been built on stone. The difference between those who rise and those who rot isn't the severity of what they endured. It's whether they learn to read pain like a language. There's a transmutation that happens when you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and start asking, "What advantage is hidden in this breakdown?" You begin to see every wound as a teacher that won't lie to protect your feelings. Pain strips away delusion. It removes the mask. It forces you to meet yourself without the comfort of excuses. And once you've sat in that fire long enough to stop fearing it, you become something people can't manipulate. Someone who's already been through worse and survived. That's when your presence changes. You move through rooms differently. Your silence carries weight because you've metabolized suffering into strategy. The hunger to be understood is the chain that keeps capable minds begging at the feet of mediocrity. You keep explaining your intentions, dissecting your choices, hoping if you just find the right words, they'll finally see you clearly. But here's the mechanism you're missing. Explanation is confession. Every time you defend your actions, you're admitting you believe you need permission to exist as you are. The dangerous ones never explain. They simply act, then watch others scramble to interpret. There's a reason the most powerful figures in history mastered ambiguity. Clarity is a gift you give to those who've earned access to your inner architecture. Everyone else should be left to wonder. When you stop justifying yourself, something shifts in the room. People can't place you anymore. They can't predict you. And what can't be predicted can't be controlled. Your silence becomes a mirror that reflects their insecurities back at them. They'll call you cold. They'll call you changed. Let them. Every misinterpretation adds another layer between you and their attempts to disarm you. The weak exhaust themselves trying to be seen correctly. The strong become comfortable being misunderstood because they know that power doesn't explain itself. It simply is. Attachment is the disease that powerful minds mistake for loyalty. There's a precise moment when caring transforms into captivity. The instant you need someone's presence more than you need your own peace. Watch how the ruthless operate. When something walks away from them, they don't chase, they observe. When someone disrespects them, they don't argue, they disappear. Their absence becomes a statement louder than any confrontation could ever be. The psychology is simple. The one who needs less controls more. Every text you send begging for closure is a transfer of power. Every explanation of your worth is confirmation you're unsure of it. Every plea for them to stay is proof they should have left sooner. Detachment isn't the absence of feeling, it's the refusal to let feeling become your prison. It's the ability to care deeply while simultaneously being capable of walking away the moment your dignity is threatened. This creates something terrifying in others. The realization that your love has terms, that your presence is conditional, that access to you can be revoked without warning or negotiation. When you stop being predictable in your availability, you become dangerous in your absence. People who once ignored your value suddenly notice your silence, because silence from someone who used to care is the loudest sound in any room. There's a hidden mechanism at work here that most people never understand. Attachment creates debt, not the kind you repay with money, but the kind you repay with pieces of yourself. Every time you stay when you should leave, you're borrowing against your future peace. Every time you forgive without consequence, you're taking out a loan your dignity will eventually have to pay back. The truly dangerous ones learned this early. They learned that emotional availability is currency, and like all currency, its value is determined by scarcity. When you're always there, always forgiving, always understanding, you become the emotional equivalent of inflation, abundant, devalued, expected. But watch what happens when you withdraw. Suddenly, the person who barely noticed you starts paying attention. The one who took you for granted begins to calculate what they lost. This isn't about playing games. This is about understanding a fundamental law of human psychology. People don't value what they're certain they can keep. Your mistake was thinking loyalty meant staying. Real loyalty is having the strength to leave when staying costs you yourself. It's knowing when your presence enables someone's disrespect and having the discipline to remove it. Not out of spite, not out of revenge, but out of self-preservation. The weak confuse endurance with strength. They stay in situations that drain them, relationships that diminish them, patterns that break them, and they call it commitment. But commitment without reciprocity is just voluntary suffering. And voluntary suffering doesn't make you noble, it makes you available for exploitation. Here's what they don't tell you about detachment.
It's not something you learn in theory. You learn it in the moment when you realize that the person you're fighting for wouldn't fight half as hard for you. You learn it when you're crying alone while they're sleeping peacefully. You learn it when you're the only one remembering anniversaries, birthdays, promises. That's when detachment stops being a concept and becomes survival. The ruthless understand that emotional investment must have a return, not in some transactional, calculated way, but in the simple recognition that energy flows where it's valued. When your energy is met with indifference, neglect, or disrespect, the strategic move isn't to increase it, it's to redirect it. This is where most people fail. They think if they just love harder, care more, give more, eventually the other person will see their worth. But that's not how power works. The more you give without boundaries, the less valuable you become. You're not demonstrating love, you're demonstrating desperation. And desperation is the opposite of power. Real detachment looks like this. You care, but you don't chase. You love, but you don't lose yourself. You're present, but you're not dependent. You give, but you don't empty yourself. You stay only as long as staying serves your peace, not their convenience. This creates an aura around you that changes everything. People sense when you're no longer attached to outcomes. They feel when you've stopped needing them to validate you. And that shift in energy makes you unpredictable. Unpredictability is leverage. When they can't manipulate you with guilt anymore, when they can't control you with silence, when they can't trap you with intermittent affection, they lose their power. And in that loss, they finally see what they had. But by then, you've already moved on. Not to someone else necessarily, but to yourself. That's the victory detachment offers. Not revenge, not pain inflicted back, but the quiet reclamation of your own mind. The moment you stop waiting for them to change, for them to see you, for them to choose you, you become unchoosenable, because you've already chosen yourself. The ones who master this don't announce it. They don't make grand exits or emotional speeches. They just quietly remove their attention, their energy, their presence, and they redirect it toward their own peace, their own goals, their own becoming. This is what makes them untouchable. Not because they don't feel, but because they refuse to let feeling dictate their decisions. They've learned the difference between caring about someone and being controlled by that care. And once you learn that difference, you can never go back to being the person who begs. So stop waiting for closure. Stop hoping they'll understand. Stop explaining yourself to people who've already decided not to hear you. Just detach, quietly, completely, and watch how your life transforms when you're no longer giving your power away to people who never valued it in the first place.
There's a form of authority that doesn't announce itself through words. It breathes through the space between them. Most people fear silence because it exposes them. They fill every gap with noise, desperate to prove they exist, terrified that stillness will reveal they have nothing of substance to say. But the ones who understand power know this. In a world addicted to explanation, silence is the ultimate weapon. Every word you don't speak is information you don't surrender. Every reaction you don't give is control you don't lose. When you learn to hold the pause, to let tension build, to allow others to sit in the discomfort of not knowing what you're thinking, you shift from reactive to commanding. Your stillness forces them to reveal everything while you reveal nothing. They talk to fill your silence. They confess to ease their anxiety. They expose their motives, trying to understand yours. This is how interrogators break the guilty and how predators identify the weak through patience. The ruthless have mastered the art of psychological pressure through absence of response.
When you stop defending yourself, stop justifying your choices, stop reacting to provocations, you become unreadable. And what cannot be read cannot be manipulated. Your silence transforms into presence. Your restraint becomes dominance. The loudest voice in the room is always trying to prove something. The quiet one already has. Let them wonder. Let them guess. Let them project their fears onto your stillness. In that space between what you could say and what you choose not to, that's where your power lives. Untouchable, undeniable, absolute. Silence is not emptiness, it's compression. It's every response you could give condensed into a single, unshakable presence. When you refuse to speak, you're not withholding information. You're refusing to participate in the game where words become weapons used against you. Think about the last time someone tried to provoke you. They said something designed to trigger a reaction, and if you responded, you gave them exactly what they wanted. Proof that they could control you. Proof that your emotions were accessible, predictable, exploitable. But if you said nothing, if you just looked at them with that calm, unreadable expression, what happened? They scrambled, they tried again, they got louder, more desperate, because your silence forced them to confront their own insignificance. That's the paradox most people never grasp. The less you say, the more powerful your words become when you finally choose to use them. Silence creates scarcity, and scarcity creates value. The weak are addicted to validation through speech. They need to explain themselves, defend themselves, prove themselves. Every sentence is a plea for recognition. Every argument is a desperate attempt to be understood. But understanding is a gift you give to those who've earned it, not a right you owe to everyone who demands it. When you stop explaining, something fundamental shifts. People can no longer categorize you. They can't predict your moves. They can't put you in a box labeled safe or manageable or controllable. You become a variable they can't account for, and variables are dangerous. This is why silence terrifies manipulators. Their entire strategy depends on your reaction. They push buttons to see which ones work. They test boundaries to find your breaking point. They provoke to locate your vulnerabilities. But when you give them nothing, when your face remains calm and your voice stays silent, their entire system collapses. They're fighting a shadow, and you can't defeat what you can't engage. The masters of power throughout history understood this instinctively. They spoke rarely. They moved slowly. They let others exhaust themselves with words while they conserved their energy for action. Because talk is cheap. Silence is expensive. It costs discipline. It costs restraint. It costs the willingness to be misunderstood without rushing to correct the record. And that willingness is what separates the powerful from the powerless. Most people will misread your silence. They'll call it arrogance. They'll call it coldness. They'll project their insecurities onto your stillness and create narratives that have nothing to do with who you actually are. Let them. Every false assumption they make is another layer of armor around your true self. Every misinterpretation is another wall between you and their attempts to manipulate you. The goal isn't to be liked. The goal is to be untouchable. Here's what happens when you master silence. Conversations become exchanges you control without appearing to control them. Someone asks you a question designed to trap you. You pause. 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 10. The room gets uncomfortable. They start to fidget. They clarify. They reveal more information trying to make you respond. And when you finally speak, your words land with weight because they came from thought, not reaction. This is psychological warfare at its most elegant. No aggression, no confrontation, just the strategic use of nothing. The ruthless know that in any interaction, the person who cares less about the outcome holds all the leverage, and silence is how you demonstrate that you care less. Not because you're indifferent, but because you're disciplined. You've trained yourself to separate emotion from response, to feel everything internally while showing nothing externally. This creates an aura. People sense it when they're around you. They feel the weight of your presence even when you're not speaking, especially when you're not speaking, because your silence communicates what words never could, that you don't need their approval, their understanding, or their validation to exist exactly as you are. And that's terrifying to people who built their power on making others need them. When you remove your need, you remove their leverage. When you remove your reactions, you remove their control. When you remove your explanations, you remove their ability to twist your words into something you never meant. What remains is pure, undiluted presence, the kind of presence that doesn't need to announce itself because it fills the room naturally, the kind of authority that doesn't require a title or a position because it emanates from who you are, not what you claim to be. This is the final lesson. Your silence is not the absence of power, it's the purest expression of it. Every word you don't waste is energy you keep. Every reaction you don't give is strength you preserve. Every explanation you don't offer is mystery you maintain. The world will try and make you speak. It will provoke you, challenge you, question you. It will demand that you justify your existence, your choices, your silence itself. Refuse, not out of spite, but out of sovereignty. Because the moment you stop playing by their rules, the moment you stop giving them the responses they expect, you become ungovernable. And the ungovernable are the only ones who are truly free. So practice the pause, master the stillness, learn to sit comfortably in the tension while others squirm. Let your silence be the statement, let your restraint be the message, and watch how power shifts toward those who understand that sometimes the most devastating thing you can say is absolutely nothing at all.